Hello Kitchen Stitchers, it's Arlene and Chef Dave. It is almost Flag Day here, so it's June 12th. Flag Day is June 14th. So we're in summer casual mode. Today was my first real day off, and although I have to do some work this week and next week and then flying to Philly for a work conference. But anyway, we're happy to have you with us. I have a lot to share. I actually finished up a lot more than I thought I had, so I've constricted Dave to talk about seasoning cast iron skillets because that's a question that came up. So, David?
Yeah, we were going to cover fettuccine Alfredo, but that was going to take too long. So, anyway, cast iron skillets. These things are wonderful. They'll last forever. Mm-hmm. They are pretty much bulletproof. Mm-hmm. But you got to take care of them the right way. This is actually a fryer pan. This is what they call a chicken fryer, and it's deep so that you can put a lot of chicken and a lot of oil in it. And it originally had a glass top on it, but that broke a long time ago. So as you can see, this outlasted the lid. And the bottom surface of it, this in here, as you can see, is a little on the shiny side. That's dry. There's no oil on that. However,
and it doesn't feel oily. Well, not too bad.
Well, it's got a little oil on it just to keep it from corroding. You do have to season cast iron skillets, and what that means is you have to coat the inside of the pan. And when I get a new pan like this, I'll coat the outside of the pan with oil. Don't use olive oil, don't use expensive oil, use like cheap corn oil.
Pull me out, the dog is needing to go out, sorry.
So you want to coat these things with oil, and if you have a grill that's outside, which is a good place for a grill, that's a good place to do this. You get your grill going pretty hot, and you set your cast iron pan into the grill and just let it sit in there and cook and cook and cook and let it smoke and smolder and do all kinds of terrible things.
Smoking and smoldering is good outside, thus the grill.
You can do this inside in your oven. Make sure you have a good exhaust fan, because we're talking oil and heat, and it's gonna smoke and it's gonna smell.
Be stinky. And as you've always told me, the fire alarm is not a good indicator of your meal being done.
That's right. It's done long
smoke
before
alarm.
that particular timer goes off. So what you're going for is a nice smooth surface on the bottom of the pan, and when the oil cooks into the surface of the pan, it's going to be leave a smooth finish. So once you get that on there, you don't want to scrub it off. So that brings us to cleaning. After you've used your cast iron skillet and you've got all kinds of burnt stuff on the bottom of it, it should come right off. Anything that doesn't come right off, the best way to do it, the best way to clean it is heat the pan up again. It's one of our dogs.
That's Ellie.
Heat the pan up again. Not screaming hot, but get it hot just before it starts to smoke, with a little bit more oil in it, and then sprinkle a bunch of kosher salt, more coarse grained kosher salt in the bottom of it, and get yourself a sheet of aluminum foil and crumble it up, and use that as a scrubby pad on the bottom of the pan. Be careful you don't burn yourself when you do this. Let it cool down just a little bit. But the combination of the roughness of the aluminum foil and the coarseness of the salt will scrape up, I would say most, if not all, of whatever you got stuck to the bottom of the pan. After that, you want to wash that out. Yeah, use water on it, because you don't want to leave anything behind that can cause things like botulism or things like that.
That would be a good idea.
You want to get everything out of it, and then when it is clean, take a paper towel and a little bit of oil, and rub the oil on the inside of the pan, on the bottom surface and around the outside of the pan, and just set it on your stove, and let it just kind of dry for a while, because there will still be some moisture in it from washing it. And if you do that, these things are wonderful to cook with. The only bad thing about them is they weigh a ton, and it's not like, you know, your nice
And they're
little.
really hot when you take them out of the oven.
And when they're, if you use
burned
them
my
in the
hands.
oven, like for cooking cornbread, which a lot of people do, you got to make sure you use a pot lifter on that handle, because it's going to be the same temperature as the oven.
I actually use these for a great goat cheese biscuit recipe that I'll share at some point.
And
Not right now.
I have to apologize to my long past grandmother every time she makes them, because they're actually better than my grandmother's biscuits.
Well, it was a recipe from a restaurant out of Chicago somewhere, some chef, but it's easy to make, and it's really good.
The cheese on the bottom gets crispy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
wonderful.
Is that all you have?
So that's all I had, unless there was any other questions that you saw.
I did not see any other questions, but that's the little dog. She's being
Best.
mouthy. I did want to share since a couple of things. One, since the last video that we did was Memorial Day, and I didn't explain it properly apparently. So I got a really great explanation from Darla Beckerson, and I'm going to read it to you because it was really that good. I learned something from this. So it says, my son is in tech school in the Air Force, and I just learned this year that Armed Forces Day is a day to appreciate Americans currently wearing uniforms, which is the third Saturday in May. Veterans Day, November 11th, is a day to honor Americans who once wore our military uniforms. And Memorial Day, the last Monday in May, is a day to remember Americans who never took our military uniform off. That means they died in service. So that's why you don't say Happy Memorial Day to people, even though for most of us it's a happy day and picnic, but really is meant to remember those who gave it all in service to our country. So anyway, thank you, Darla, for that information. I thought that was really interesting. The next big holiday, so to speak, is Father's Day.
Hey.
And that's this Sunday. Anyway, his kids are not here, but he'll be able to see them at some point, and I'm sure they will appreciate him when they do. But I wanted to share something about my dad. I'm not sure how much I've shared about my dad, but my dad passed away. I think I've shared this. It'll be coming up on 3 years in November. And he was an amazing man. In the last year of his life, he suffered from, he'd gone through 5 years of little strokes. And in the last year, he'd had a more major stroke. That the effect of the strokes for him wasn't paralysis or speaking. It was taking away his eyesight, which was 20/20 before this started happening at the age of 79. To be 20/20 is pretty amazing. And it took away a lot of his short-term memory. But in the last year, it put him into full-on paranoia and dementia in the evenings. And David was a big help in helping my mom care for him at home as much as possible. The last month before he died, he had a major episode in the evening. It was like 12:30 at night, and my mom called me, waking us up. It was, of course, the middle of the week. I'd been out there the day before, which is a whole nother story. It was like God gave me a day of lucidity with my dad. It was the last day. It was a beautiful day. But that night was terrible. And so I called her and told her, she called me, and I'm trying to call my dad. He wasn't even really recognizing me at that point. And so I told her to call 911, and she did. And of course, our first responders were just incredible. The police and the ambulances, they came over, and they took him to the hospital. But what he had done in that process, because he thought Mom was trying to kill him by giving him medicine, is he was trying to defend himself. So my dad was in the Navy, so I'm sure this goes back to when he was in the Korean War and some of all of that. But anyway, he took the brass lamp that was next to his chair, which had a metal base, but underneath apparently it had cement in it, and he was using it to fend off my mom, and he broke the lamp and shattered the bottom, and the cement was everywhere. Anyway, long story short, she gets done with him at the hospital. She comes home. It's probably 2:33 in the morning. It's in the middle of the night, and it was trash day for her. So first thing she does, my mom is super neat, so she went into the house and she was trying to clean up from the mess that had been caused for that. But the lamp, my mom, she's at that point, she's 10 years younger than my dad, so she was 75. And it was hard for her to pull all that out and get that out into the garbage can, and she was trying to lug it down the driveway when the sheriff, who had been at their house to help, had stopped by to see how she was in the middle of the night and helped her. So anyway, every year, sorry about this. I'm so appreciative for that. He didn't have to do that. He went out of his way to come back and check on my mom and make sure everything was okay. And he took the garbage down the driveway for her, which was super sweet. So what I do to remember that and to thank that is every year on that day, which was September 28th, I make a coffee cake. And the reason I'm sharing this is because it's Father's Day, and I also want to tell you my trick for coffee cake. Because when I make this for the office, one of the superintendents that works at our office tells me it's crack cake because he's addicted to it and loves it. So it's just a box mix, but I'll tell you how I do it probably differently than what everybody does it. And it's this box mix by Krusteaz. I make it up the night before, and I use 2 boxes of this. So I use is that 8 by 13? It's like the rectangular baker that you would put casseroles in if you made casseroles. I use one of these on the bottom. I put butter all over it so it doesn't stick. It's butter and it's nothing else. It's butter, not margarine, not spray, because I think that adds the flavor. And so I mix this up and I spread it on the bottom, and then they have this topping that I put that goes in the middle. So I use the whole thing on the bottom, and then I make another one with the layer of the cake mix on top and then the crumbly on top. I make it up the night before. And then the morning that I'm going to use it, I put it in the oven and I bake it and I bring it in warm. So the act of keeping it in the refrigerator overnight takes that, the topping, and it really lets it, like, it gets, it's not quite as crumbly, but it's still crumbly on top, but some of that flavor comes into the batter, and it's just really, really, really yummy. I don't ever admit that I do this with a box unless they really ask, and then of course I'm honest, I just don't say anything. But it really is good, and this is really the best that I've found by Krusteaz. And so I take that up to the sheriffs once a year with a thank you note for all that they did for my family and all they continue to do on a daily basis. So God bless our first responders and our police officers.
Absolutely.
All right.
And the bad part of this is when I come home from work in the afternoon, the house smells
Yes.
like this, but there's like not a crumb to be found anywhere.
I can't cut it because then it would look bad with a piece out of it. If I can save a piece and bring it back, I do, but normally there's nothing. It's eaten. Yeah. So yes, then I have to, at some point in time make one for him. So that's very good. But anyway, that's my trick. Now we've got lots of stitchy stuff to talk about. If you can dig into the big recipe box for the goat cheese biscuit recipe, then I can tell them about that later.
If I hand you the box.
Oh no, I'm not going to do that now. I'll post the goat cheese recipe. Basically, it's self-rising flour and goat cheese and butter, and it gets mixed, and you just plunk it into a hot cast iron skillet and cook it in the oven, and they are really yummy. So I'm not a big goat cheese person. I don't usually like goat cheese, but in these biscuits, it's really good. Okay, so first I'm going to show you what I'm working on right now. I finished up a bunch of stuff. I'm really surprised how much I finished up. So I decided to take on May, because I don't have really a lot for May, so I think that's really pretty. I've got July getting finished, so hopefully I was hoping it'd be finished now, but it's not quite yet. And I'm going to have it finished kind of similarly to the way that I'm having July finished as a flat fold. So here's my work in progress with May. I had to change some things. I do love what they do, but I was having problems. So this May, the letters are silk, and there's a couple of silks that go here. So I had problems finding that at my local needle shop. So I substituted, and I'm trying to make a decision on substitution. The call for the letters was Newt Green, Silken Colors 1001, and what I did was Wasabi Silken Colors number 309. So that's what I used for that. And I don't think it looks, it's maybe a little lighter than what this May is. I also, they have it stitched on antique white. I have it stitched on something called, it's 32 count American Blind by R&R. Someone told me, reminded me what R&R means. And of course, see, here's the problem. When I get in front of you guys, my mind goes blank, and I'll tell more about that later. But R&R, yeah, it's not rest and relaxation. I don't know what it is, but you guys know, so you'll find that. So the other colors that go, the silk colors, are in the middle here, and also the nest here. So I tried to make a decision. So I did have one of them. They had the desert moss, so I'm good for that. So that's one of the colors. That's the top color that's here. So they did have that, but they didn't have this color or this color. They had, like, see, Newt Green was, or no, Lemongrass was 128. They had 127 and 129, of course. And they didn't even have a spot for the other one. And then Silvered Celery was 79. I think they had 78 and 80. So I am either going to do, let's see, so to match the one that's under here, that's that Silvered Celery, I'm either going to do this, which is Turtle Feathers, or this, which is Summer Shadow. Or for this part here, which they called for Lemongrass. So it looked like it was kind of beige with some pastels in it. I'll either do this one, or I kind of like this one, so I might do that one. So I don't know, I'll just have to see when it's done. That's why I've left that to the last, to see what to do. If you have an opinion, I welcome your opinion. I think you all have fascinating ideas. So anyway, that's what I was working on. Oh, I wanted to say, you know, I think why I do some of these giveaways is because I love mail. So I love the fact I'm giving mail to people, because it's fun to get mail. So anyway, that's why I give you this, so you get mail, so you get something fun in the mail. And I feel really bad for two reasons. For something, I had sent a package to Paula in Portugal, and again, last time when I was on, I think my mind went totally crazy blank, and I think I said Paula in Peru, because her last name is Lima, so there's how my crazy mind works. And so she's in Portugal, and so I sent her a package, and had said on here last time that it had some stuff in it, and she saw it, because I thought it was already supposed to be delivered, because they told me it was going to be delivered on that Tuesday. Well, apparently it didn't, and it took a lot longer to get there, and it's still stuck in customs, and she's been fighting with it. So hopefully she'll get it this week sometime. So hopefully all that is worked out. I can't wait for her to get it. But I did get a note from someone who said I don't need to mention her, but I appreciated her thank you when I had sent something to her. What she sent me was a thank you card, and look at this. She sent me this little stitched project that I just think is finished so cutely. And I don't know if you can see back here, this is usually what's on my table, and it's red, white, and blue for the June Flag Day and 4th of July, and it'll be on my table through the end of July. And it goes perfectly with the candles and stuff that I have. So Barbara, I think of you all the time when I sit down at my table and I see the lovely thing you made for me, so thank you so very much. Okay, so I finished a lot. Oh, and the other thing is, oh, David, we have to call some names because we had some people who were going for the various things that we did offer from the last one. So I will pull this up and we'll call that. But the last time there was another springtime one that I was giving away. It's the two of these. So I finished this. There's the spring. I didn't do the words with what they recommended. They recommended the brown. So I took what was inside of these flowers and I made that here. So I changed that. I also didn't have their buttons, so I just went to the store and got some buttons. So that's what's on here. I have the little bunny down here. I thought there was another button. Oh, and the little bird up here. So that turned out pretty well. I'm not sure what I'll do with this. I will probably end up maybe turning it into a decorative pillow, but I don't know. It'll sit in my closet for a while until I figure that out. But anyway, back to, I had given away one of those springs, and the person whose name was called did not send me any information about how to get to them. So I will try to say the name again, if I think I have it marked. And it was Pat Matejcek. Matejcek, M-A-T-E-J-C-E-K. So Pat, if I don't hear from you before our next video, then I'm going to pull, David, select a number from 2 to 9.
7.
I'm going to pull Patricia Gerard. So if I don't hear from you in the next week, because I'll be off, then I will send it to Patricia Gerard. So Patricia, I don't know if you're gonna pray that Pat doesn't call me, but if she doesn't, it'll be coming your way. And so if you would send me an email to PQUEA, P as in Paul, I-Q-U-E-A @gmail.com, I can be prepared to send that to you. Okay, and so then we have four pieces to give away. One was a baby sampler, and that's going to Rachel Pinard, P-I-N-A-R-D. David, select between 2 and 8 for the sheep pattern.
3.
3 is Cindy Flinchbaugh. So Cindy, all these names, just go ahead and send me an email at pka@gmail.com. Again, P as in Paul, I-Q-U-E-A, with your email address, and I will send that to you. The owl, David, select between 2 and 10.
6.
Quiltma, Q-U-I-L-T-M-A is Quiltma. So Quiltma, whoever you are, go ahead and send me your address that I can mail this to you. Last is the wedding sampler, so between 2 and 8.
4.
That would be Betsy Albertson. So Betsy, the 4 that I have, Cindy Flinchbaugh, Quiltma, Rachel or Rochelle Pinard, and Betsy Albertson. So you send me your information and I will get those in the mail to you. And those were given to us to give away. And I'm excited about that. Okay. That was, it was the FaithWorks design people sent this. So I finished a bunch of this. That was the cutest thing. It's the box with the bunny. Cute, cute, cute. And it had some bands to go around it. I thought I had those up here, but shoot, I must not have put it up here. Okay, so the other thing that I worked on, not in there, was the Shadow Box series. So this was also FaithWorks. Love the Shadow Box series. So the last one I haven't gotten yet is the one in the middle. I'm excited for that. But she did send me these. This was the one on the left side. Now, the nice thing here is you'll notice these are fancy stitches. They aren't the just cross stitch, but she does have a cross stitch pattern if you don't want to do these fun stitches. I personally love having something new and different to do because sometimes I'll incorporate some of those stitches in other regular cross stitch. So that was a lot of fun. But again, she gives you your choice. She also gave an extra pattern, and it was for a flag with a spool. So I think that'll be kind of cute to go with this somewhere in this list. So I did finish that on this little spool, and I actually stitched it on 2 sides. So that turned out pretty well. I didn't do the French knots here because I'm going to fix that like a little star button there, I think. So that's that. And I had another. So this was part of the shadow box as well. Grand old flag. That was quick and easy to stitch if you're looking for something quick. And then the sampler piece. So that was a lot of fun to stitch too. So yay, I can't wait. And then I'll be able to finish off that box, and that will be a lot of fun. I did finish June for Hands-On Design, their months. So that was fun. That was fun to stitch. So I can't wait for July. And then there was another something from Praiseworthy Stitches that I got this January. Looks like this. And all of the pieces of it, including the fabric to finish it, came in this little container. So like this band goes on the inside. So I finished this band. That was a lot of fun. The words were over 1, but everything else was over 2. So, and they had the pre-cut material in there. She does a tea dye on these after it's all done. I like the bright colors, so I'm not going to do that. And then I added Halloween and the date down here. And there was one more little thing, but I'm missing it, so we'll just move on. Here was the free flag spool cover. The cool thing about the Faithworks is she gives you really good detailed instructions. Oh, here's the other one. I think this is like for needle minder or a scissors fob. I can't remember. And there's another one that I'm probably not going to do, but that was fun. So she gives you good instructions on how to finish all that stuff. And I just, like I said, I just like all the little stuff that you can do with this. Oh, I know it was, what do you call those things? Scissors holder that has beads. So all the beads are included in here. And this is the little tin that it gets finished in. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'll probably use it as an Ort box. And then the other thing I did last weekend was I decided to work on this. So I did that, and I actually got it finished. That was a quick one. I'm going to turn this into a little decorative pillow for a friend of mine who does sewing. Now, see this? They have all those little stitches, just individual stitches. I like more long straight stitches for stuff like that. I just think it looks more authentic, and especially like the whiskers and stuff. So I don't normally do the back stitches. It would be, I go ahead and do the long straight stitches. So that's those. And I got fabric of the month. This is kind of cool. I can't wait to stitch with this. This is 36 count Edinburgh linen from Color and Cotton. And that's the color is called Luna. And then I did get some of this from the Stash, one of the Facebook groups, and it comes with all the silks to do this, so that should be fun. Thanks to Shepherd's Bush, I love working with silk from their kits. So anyway, thank you Shepherd's Bush for that addiction. I also will eventually work on this because I did work on the mouse. So I finished the mouse. And she is the queen of the needle. I don't know, can you see the little needle? The needle comes with it. The little crown comes with it. Isn't she cute? She's so cute. I was so excited because I went into the local needle shop and somebody was working on that. And they were in the process of working on finishing it, so that's finished on the bottom. And I was able to help them, and I really like that. I like being able to help people. So they make you do stitches all around, like these are stitches that are up along the side, and there's straight stitches that you're doing around, like whip stitch almost. That's not it, more like a back stitch, but you actually then follow those back stitches to stitch the thing together, so you don't stitch it separately, you stitch over the back stitches. And this is probably one of the next things I'll be working on, Scatter Freedom. Love that. So that'll be a fun one to work on. Again, shepherd's bush, but this one was not silks. It's just the overdyed thread. So I have those ready to go. Probably when I'm on the plane, I'll take that with me. And a couple other of the fabric of the month stuff that I had. This one, Color and Cotton, that was white tea, and that is 32 count. So I'm finding I like the smaller counts more now. And this one is Sea Breeze. It's a 36 count. I'm very happy about that. I have to find something good to stitch with that. And Ballerina. I think I showed these ones. That was a 40 count, as was this one I showed I think last time, which was the Lemon Cake. It's a Newcastle 40 count. I love those pale yellows, so that'll be something fun to stitch with. And of course I have the last few of my Stitchy box. I have been dying to open these, but I saved them for you all. So I have day 25 to start with. So here's day 25. Kind of fun to open. I was trying to see if I had something else that I had finished. I don't think so. All right, day 25 is a little bird. It's a bird bead, and it says it's a brass bird charm. A happy little three-dimensional bird charm you can use in finishing or as part of a scissors fob. That was the word I was looking for before, fob. Like I said, sometimes when I'm on here, my mind goes blank, so I apologize when that happens. Scissors fob. And this is day 26, and it's raining outside. It's supposed to rain today and tomorrow. So day 26 looks like some rickrack lace. That's pretty for finishing. It says crocheted lace edging, a little bit of lacy goodness to help you finish your projects. Day 27. Again, just love these little bags. I wish I didn't have to destroy them in the process of opening them. I would definitely reuse those. Day 27, Classic Colors Works, Pearl number 5, Tea and Biscuits. Fab Neutral you can use for stitching or finishing. Day 28. Cute little orange. I wonder where they get these bags. They're very cute. So this says satin cord for finishing. Oh, that's a nice color. Spring Flowers cording can help you with finishing or creating dangly bits and ties for your smalls. It doesn't show that color very well. Maybe back a little bit. You can see the variegation in it. It's really pretty. Day 29. Feels like fabric. Oh, it's felt. Wool felt. This green makes an excellent small backer or a base to embroider some fun spring flowers. And day 30. So I think this was an April box, so there's not a 31, but I started opening them in May. And it is a Spring Path mandala. I can't show it because it, oh, here's the, I thought that was the pattern, but that's what it looks like. So very fun, very fun. Good stuff to work on. Also bought a cording winder. I think I told you about that before for some finishing. So all is well. I believe that's all I have. I appreciate your time, and I hope you're having a fabulous beginning of summer. It's been a little cool here, but it's been good, and we're looking forward to more warmer weather. Anyway, we wish you the best, and I'll look for my goat cheese biscuit recipe and type it in the description, so hopefully I'll get that done. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. We'll see you probably not until July because we're busy and David and I are kind of passing directions. So we'll see you later. Bye-bye.